Yes! Hello, my beautiful friends. It is an amazing day, and as you can see, we are in a new location, change of scenery right now. And we're making sure that you can hear us loud and clear before we jump into the business on the day. Hopefully, we're coming in loud and clear. It's a beautiful day. What's up? John Zimmerman's in the house. I see Slappy T is over on Rumble. We're making sure things are working here since this is our second stream of the day. Just Cause says, good to go on the tubes. Amazing. All right, that's 2 for 2. It's working. That's great news. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to yet another episode of Watching the Watchers Live. As you can see, we have relocated. We're in Prescott, Arizona, and we're excited to be here. This will be the permanent home moving forward. And so we got a little bit of work to do. We got some setup to complete. Lights will be moving around. A little bit of echo in the room still. I'm laying down some rugs. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. But we're here. We're moved. We've got a bunch of business to attend to today. 3 segments that we'll dive in on. Of course, we've got to talk about this ABC News settlement because President Trump sued ABC News when they said he was an R person who R'd E. Jean Carroll in that dressing room at Bergdorf's. But that never happened. In fact, the jury came out and found that he was not liable. This wasn't even a criminal case. It was a stupid civil lawsuit that they created a law to sue Trump, and they sued him. And the jury came back and found not liable for the R. But a lot of people have been running their mouths all over the media saying that the president R'd a woman, and that never happened. Neither did the other one. But the juror specifically found that that was not something that happened. We'll talk about that. We'll look at the orders. There's a settlement order that came down. We'll read what ABC agreed to do. And then, of course, we'll enjoy when they do it. We've also got an update on the drones because President Trump came out today and we had a great live stream this morning. We covered the full thing live with our members on YouTube and on Locals, where we listened to Trump's entire press conference, and it was awesome. I mean, the guy was on point today in a way that we've been yearning for over these last 4 years. Nobody over the last 4 years has done what he's done in just the last couple days. So we'll talk about that. But he came out, weighed in on this drone situation. I've also got some clips from Chuck Schumer and Mayorkas, who are going to explain to us their takes on the drones and how we're all just crazy, and more. Then we'll talk about judges because we spent some time talking about the Court of Appeals judges. Remember that the Democrats were saying, if you give us all these underling judges, if you give us all these low-level district court judges, we'll give you these Court of Appeal judges, and then that way it's even Stevens. Everything will be nice and fair. Turns out those judges at the Court of Appeals are unretiring. They've literally had retirement parties 9 months ago, and now they are unretiring. So the whole thing is just nuts. The whole thing was nuts. And so we'll go into all of it, my friends. I'm really glad that you're here. Hopefully your week is unfolding beautifully. It's a Monday, and I hope that you're accomplishing all the things on your to-do list with fervor and energy. We got some other quick stories I wanted to just ping for us here. Obviously, we've had some bad news today. We had a shooting that took place out at a Christian school, and they're still trying to identify who the shooter was. I believe it was a female shooter who is a woman, which is a strange thing. Police say a student and a teacher are now dead. It was at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, 80 miles west of Milwaukee. And so the police chief was out. We're not going to spend a ton of time on the story today, otherwise to just pause and say prayers to the families. And we're recognizing that it happened. 2 others were killed and 6 additional people rushed to the hospital. And so we'll wait to hear more. No motive had been come out yet. No information available about the killer, except for the fact that they're a teenage student. And I saw another headline that it was a female student. So that's unusual. We don't see that happen a whole lot. But we've got that. We also wanted to just pay tribute to our friend over at the Legal Vices, who has now passed away, which is a terrible thing. We never got the chance to talk here in the law tube space, but I have watched his content, and I always thought it was interesting how he was living over there overseas And it's just a terrible thing. So he has passed away now. And so we just want to pay some respects to him. Megan Fox is where I heard this from, but a lot of other people in the LawTube community are obviously in pain, having known him and having this happen unexpectedly. Passed away from heart failures. The doggies are okay. Megan says she's still processing this, but his audience and all those who loved him need to know. I'm so sorry for his family and friends. And so that has happened. And so send some prayers over to the Legal Vices household and to his family and to those who knew him well and who will be mourning his passing. Just terrible. Young guy. So not good. So we've got all of that coming up, and then we'll get into ABC News and some more things. We've got drones, we've got judges, and more. Yeah, Spices says, my heart's broken. Rest in peace. Jeff says, Viva MAGA. First Amendment's here. Rest in peace. I know, it's terrible. Norm, rest in peace. Lots of prayers going out. Gone too soon, says Just Cause. Yeah, indeed. Terrible. All right, so prayers out there for Legal Vices and for the fam. All right, so now let's get into it, my friends. We've got some other business to attend to, and hopefully this is not, I just got this circle of death. All right, we're back, we're good. All right, we got some other business to attend to, and let's start off with this story coming over from the New York Times. President Trump wins again. Now ABC News is going to have to pay him $15 million and issue an on-air apology, and they're paying legal fees for Trump's lawyers as well. It was a big one. I've got a bunch of the actual documents queued up here. You can see the joint notice of the settlement from ABC News, the settlement and the release agreement from ABC News, which we'll look at. And we also have the order that is closing the case from the courts. So all that's coming up, but let's get some background here from the New York Times. It says the outcome of this lawsuit is a bit of an unusual victory for the president. He sues a lot of people, doesn't often win, but now he has $15 million. That's a lot of super chats to settle a defamation lawsuit. The agreement was a rare and a significant concession by major news medias and a rare victory for Trump. Now, under the terms of the settlement that were revealed on Saturday over the weekend, ABC News will donate $15 million to Trump's future presidential foundation and museum. The network and its star anchor, George Stephanopoulos, also published a statement recently saying they, quote, regret the remarks made about Mr. Trump during a televised interview in March. Now, we remember that clip because we've seen it here a lot. It was the one with George Stephanopoulos, who was going after Nancy Mace, a representative from Congress, who was basically yelling at her, you're a victim of types of assaults, aren't you? She's like, yeah. Well, why don't you condemn Trump, who did that same type of assault on a woman? And just kept hitting it. He did. A jury found that he did it. And there was this cute little thing that the judge did. The jury found that Trump was not liable for that. Unequivocally. It's on the jury verdict form. You can see it and read it. Well, in that, the court came out and said because they found Trump liable, the jury of that second offense, the second allegation, which in this case was the assault, that was it was digital assault with penetration. Remember the old DJ Diddles, error. That whole situation was something that the judge said was close enough to the R, so it can count as an R. That's exactly what they said. And that is a curious framing when the jury said specifically he did not do that thing. So ABC News is owned by Walt Disney, will also pay an additional $1 million for Trump's legal fees. The outcome, they say, is an unusual win for Mr. Trump, who has frequently sued news organizations and lost, frequently sued a bunch of people, but maybe not anymore. Maybe he's also going to sue CBS and win, and we'll take a look at that. Major news organizations have often been very leery of settlements. We might be seeing an attitudinal shift here. Yeah, well, the problem is they thought that they were going to get away with all this. They could say whatever they wanted because Democrats were going to be in charge. And the Democrat DOJ and the Democrat apparatus would protect them. Now, that's not happened. Okay, it was a bunch of kids who were ransacking a candy store because they thought they would never get caught. If the kids knew that they were going to get caught, they wouldn't ransack the candy store. But that's what's happened here. They thought, well, we'll just prosecute him in every single jurisdiction. We'll try to throw him off the ballot. We'll imprison all of his deputies, all the alternate electors. We'll go after his actual voters, his constituents, in rounding them up, whether they're Catholics, pro-lifers, whether they're J6ers, doesn't matter. Just round them up. Now, compared to the mainstream American press of a decade ago, they say, well, they're a little bit more financially robust. Trump sued ABC because he kept saying over and over that Trump was liable for R. Liable for R. And we said here, no, he's not. And a lot of people on the left said, yeah, but the judge came back and actually said it's kind of an R, so you can say it. He said you harmed my reputation. Trump was ordered to pay damages. Tensions have always been high. Trump denounces ABC News as terrible. He also grumbled because Kamala Harris and Dana Walden were like BFFs and the debates were all rigged. In May, Mr. Stephanopoulos was asked about Trump and the lawsuit. How does it feel to be sued by a former president for defamation, for just doing your job, said Stephen Colbert. Well, unfortunately, it now comes with the territory, is what he said. Mr. Stephanopoulos replied, but I'm not going to be cowed out of doing my job because of the threat of Donald Trump. Now, the audience was cheering, and so those two were just getting on with themselves. But it's been settled. You can see here's the joint notice of settlement. This came out. President Trump as an individual versus ABC News with George Slopadopoulos. Seen here, plaintiff Trump and ABC News and George Stephanopoulos by and through the undersigned counsel hereby give notice to the court that the parties have settled this. The parties have entered into a written settlement agreement, which is attached here too. All the lawyers signing off on it. Here is the actual agreement itself that was attached. They say, 7-pager. This is the settlement agreement between President Donald Trump, ABC News, saying on March 10th of 2024, ABC News broadcasted an interview between George Stephanopoulos and Nancy Mace. They republished it all over the place, ABC News and more. Online, wrote articles about it. Everybody was thrilled. Then on March 18th, Trump sued ABC News, saying, what? These are false and defamatory actions. The jury literally found me not liable for the thing that you said I'm liable for. Whereas the parties here now desire to resolve this. So he said a bad thing, Trump sued, now they want to solve this thing. And here is what they are considering, saying, here is what ABC will do. ABC shall cause a transfer in the amount of $15 million to be made to Trump's presidential foundation and museum, whatever is established by the president, as defined. The charitable contribution shall be made within 10 days of this agreement to an escrow account. So they're going to hold that in trust because Trump doesn't have his presidential library yet. But that's going to be a nice down payment for it. We're going to get something nice, I think, who will serve as an escrow agent. And that's going to be established by Trump's lawyers. So ABC News now has $15 million they're sending over in parking in Trump's bank account. Within 10 calendar days after Trump or his counsel say there's confirmation that a 501c3 status has been reached, then they'll finalize and transfer the funds. So Trump will set up the presidential library. Then they'll move the money. It'll be a tax donation. It'll be a charitable contribution for ABC, so they're happy about it. Trump gets $15 million, so he's happy about it. And ABC has to make a statement. Within 1 calendar day of this effective date, defendants, ABC, shall publicly publish the following statement by adding it as an editor's note at the bottom of the article. So they go back to the article that they wrote, and they wrote this online. ABC had to publish this like total losers. They said, ABC News and George Stephanopoulos regret statements regarding President Trump made during an interview by George Sloppy and Nancy Mace on ABC. All right, so he regrets it. So he's going to say, I didn't apologize. I didn't say I was wrong. I really do. I just regret that I said it and that I have to pay you guys $15 million. Now, ABC News also shall cause the payment of $1 million in legal fees. That's a nice payday for Brito PLLC happening now. And as a result of this settlement, we're going to dismiss this lawsuit. So now Trump will dismiss the claim. Trump will file a stipulation of a dismissal with prejudice, meaning we're not going to bring this back. We're going to release everybody, and ABC News is going to release everybody from their claims. There's not any warranties or anything that's been transferred. The agreement here is legally binding. This is the entire agreement, right? These are all just kind of boilerplate language is the phrase. Notices and any other communication required to be delivered is happening through me. And there it is, baby. The signature of the president himself saying we're now bound by this thing, President Donald J. Trump. Nice victory there for the president and his legal team, because they do sue a lot. And Trump has said specifically that there may be more lawsuits coming down the pike. In fact, he said that today during his press briefing. Now, Trump also, as we can see here, has now had the case dismissed and adjudicated, closed, saying this cause before the court, this is from the judge. So the judge, Cecilia Altanaga, came out and said the following, said this case before the court has now been administratively closed. If the parties fail to complete the expected settlement, you can reopen the case, but it's closed for administrative purposes. So get that money and send it over to the president, if that has not already happened as of yet. So that is a big victory for the president, and there's more reaction to this. A lot of people unhappy about this. Here is what MSNBC sounded like when she was hearing the news of the verdict.
I'll just say, this feels like it has a real chilling effect. Shout out to the standards department. Okay, standards is always making sure that we are keeping the bar high and substantive and accurate. But what George Stephanopoulos said in that interview, it seems to hold up with what the judge said after the fact. And now his news organization and himself, George Stephanopoulos himself, is paying $1 million of his own money to the lawyers, and ABC at $15 million. It's insane.
Whoa, so that's George Stephanopoulos' own money? He had to come out of pocket to pay for those lawyer fees? ABC News made him cough it up? Oh man, one more time.
George Stephanopoulos himself is paying, and himself. George Stephanopoulos himself is paying $1 million of his own money to the lawyers, and ABC at $15 million.
Wow. So George has to come out of pocket. Man, that was a bad statement. $1 million? Yeah, maybe you shouldn't accuse somebody of R when the court, specifically the jury, found literally on the verdict form not liable for that. Checked it. How many times do we circle it here with the red pen? Circle it. Not liable, idiots. How many times do you have to keep saying that? And they got nervous, man, because it's on the form. They could just show the jury the form. And now he's the president. And all of their attempts to try to squeeze one through, throw him off the ballot, raid his house, go through Melania's underwear, we're going to get away with it because we're going to win. We can do whatever we want to these people and treat them like trash, because by treating them like trash, we're going to continue to have power. Well, they gambled. They lost. Now George Sloppy can pay some big money for this. Now, here's some more reaction on this. You can see Brian Stelter was talking about it. They're all like, holy crap. I've been saying a lot of bad stuff about Trump for a long time. Hopefully, I don't have to come out of pocket $1 million. Here's what Brian said. Well, the big question about the Trump-ABC settlement is, why did ABC agree to pay and to apologize? The network won't say. Because we know that it was malicious. He was doing it intentionally. You could read it on his face. He knew that the judge gave him an excuse, and he manipulated that and was hammering it home. That conversation with Nancy, he says it like 5 times, but decided to pay the money to end the dispute and make the case go away. It's a common move, but with an unusual plaintiff, which of course here is the president-elect. Here's Brian.
We've talked a lot in recent years about people using the courts trying to seek justice. Remember the Sandy Hook case against Alex Jones? Well, those defamation kinds of cases can also be filed by someone like the president-elect. So Trump filed a defamation suit. It was working its way through the courts. ABC was unable to get it thrown out initially. And actually, in the next few days, Trump was set to be deposed in the case. But ABC is avoiding going any further by settling. They're paying out $15 million plus $1 million in attorney's fees. They say this is going to go to a nonprofit, basically to Trump's future library. That's the idea. But maybe most importantly, Jessica, ABC is also apologizing, issuing a statement of regret. We've talked a lot.
Yeah, well, a statement of regret, it's not really an apology. It's like, I regret that happened. Well, you can regret a lot of things happen. And a lot of things, it's a little passive for me. I'd like George Slopadopoulos to come out and say, I'm sorry for lying to my audience, because that's what he did. And he did it intentionally. And he was trying to smear the president. They kept saying it, right? And ABC comes out and they say it. That gives everybody else cover. So George Stephanopoulos is like a shield for other people. They say, if ABC News is saying it, we can say it. So they're all saying it. Now George got hit with $1 million fine. And they're not happy about this. You can see Mark Elias, who is a Democrat super lawyer, came out all upset. Kiss the ring, bend the knee, obey in advance. Not that complicated. Okay, relax, Mark. These people were violating the laws by calling Trump an R when he was not. And they said that a jury found him liable for that. And that is not what happened at all, ever. So you can see, not happy. They're all nervous because guys like Mark and others have run their mouths for years saying whatever they want, saying there's not going to be any consequences because they're going to win. Well, guess what? They didn't win. And now repercussions are coming. Here is what you can see from Mediaite. They're even talking about this over there. This is Michael Steele and the rest of the crew.
Position. Everyone understands that. That doesn't change the obligation to be straightforward and objective when it comes to Donald Trump.
I would just say, this feels like it has a real chilling effect. Shout out to the standards department. Okay, standards is always making sure that we are keeping the bar high and substantive and accurate. But what George Stephanopoulos said in that interview, it seems to hold up with what the judge said after the fact.
She should be sued now for another $1 million. All right, so that is what's happening with the reaction on the people on the left. The president himself is now contemplating other lawsuits all over the place. In fact, here's one that's working its way through the courts already. The president came out. We're going to listen to him explain that they're considering even more. But this one is already in the system. It's working its way through the courts. President Trump sued CBS Broadcasting, and they're agreeing now for more time so that Trump can respond to CBS's motion to dismiss. All right, so CBS now is fighting this, but they're now agreeing to extend time to respond. Right, so the court they're filing this motion. Trump is saying, can we have some additional time to respond to this? The parties have agreed that if Trump files an amended complaint, then they will have until February 14th. So we're going all the way into next year to file any other responses. And so this is still being litigated. So this is one that is against CBS. And the left is going to come through, and guys like Mark Elias that we just saw, they're going to cry foul. They're going to say, oh, this is Trump who's acting like Putin, going after the free press and all this stuff. Well, the press has very strong First Amendment protections. If they want to stand firm by what they said, they can do that. ABC News could have done that. George Stephanopoulos could have done that. But we know that they were maliciously, intentionally defaming the president at every opportunity. And no one's above the law. And they gambled. They lost. Now the president is taking over, and investigations can proceed as they should, because this is obvious what they've done. Now, here is the president who came out today, gave a brilliant presser. He talked for over an hour. We covered the whole thing live on our members only stream. And the reaction to the whole presser was like, finally, oh my gosh, he came out and talked for an hour about everything from vaccines to Syria to domestic policy to border. He made a plea to Joe Biden. Please stop selling the metal for the wall. Please stop. Okay, it was great. So if you missed it, I'd encourage you to watch the full thing. We're looking for, nobody over 4 years has done what he did today ever in the last 4 years. Not Karine, not Joe Biden, not John Kirby, not Jake Sullivan, not Mark Milley or Lloyd Austin. Kamala, never, not even close. So what he did is came out and actually gave us an update, like a State of the Union on the world. And it was very nice to hear. But one thing he's also said that he'll do when he's in the middle of other things, when he has a break, is sue the people who tried to rig the last election, like the pollsters who were committing election fraud, like the defamers, like George Stephanopoulos, who are now agreeing to settlements and apologies. They don't get to just burn the whole building down and then run away and hide like they did nothing wrong. We know who did it. Now it's time to pay for those actions.
I'm going to be bringing one against the people in Iowa, their newspaper, which had a very, very good pollster who got me right all the time. And then just before the election, she said I was going to lose by 3 or 4 points, and it became the biggest story all over the world because I was going to win Iowa by 20 points. The farmers loved me, and I loved the farmers. And it was interesting the way she did it. She brought it down 2 weeks before. She said I was going to only win by 4. That was a big story. But that was good because she brought it down from like 22 points to 4 or whatever the number was. Way up.
Totally fake. We called it out as fake that day.
We never even thought to go there. I respect them. I love them. And they understand there's no reason to go there because she brought it from way up, walk away, which it was. And it turned out to be in the election, too, by the way. It was a win by many, many points. And then she brought it down very smartly to 4 a couple of weeks before. And everyone said, wow, that's amazing. He's only up by 4 points. Then she brought it down to where I was down by 3 or 4, whatever number she used. And that was the Des Moines Register. And it was their parent. And in my opinion, it was fraud and it was election interference. You know, she's gotten me right always. She's a very good pollster. She knows what she was doing.
And she resigned.
She then quit before. And we'll probably be filing a major lawsuit against them today or tomorrow. We're filing one on 60 Minutes, you know about that? Where
yeah, because they did the same thing.
Kamala's answer, which was a crazy answer, a horrible answer, and they took the whole answer out and they replaced it with something else she said later on.
Okay, and think about that. Like, think about the amount of fraud that took place in each individual domain, right? Like the pollsters were committing fraud, right? That's my opinion on what she did there, was to try to create a push poll to get some final, billions of dollars or $100 million raised and to incentivize people to get out the votes. It was done intentionally. Then she resigned, and who knows, what the backstory is there, but we all watched it in real time. So if she'll just go and just commit a little bit of fraud or bend her ethical rules just a little bit in order to stop Trump, that's just one domain, okay? That's like a pollster. Then you think about the news media. That's another domain. And in that domain, you've got George Stephanopoulos, who will come out and lie to his audience, call people very horrific things, right? Like they can't call him a rapist. I'm sorry. They can call him that, or they're trying to call him that. They can't call him a racist anymore because nobody believes it or cares. So they had to use the other R, which is the one I just said, the R word, and then use that to escalate their attacks on him. So then the pollsters will do it, the media will do it, and you just multiply that times all the different domains. Then you have hack secretaries of state that try to throw him off the ballot and say it's justified and not fraud. And then you go down the line, right, at the election processing plants, and just take it wherever you want to go. Apply it to your domain, right? Apply it, people in your domain might be corrupted. And so just put that around at scale. Trump has a lot to clean up, man, because they all thought that they were going to get away with it. Now the president is back. That's not going to happen. So we're excited to see what the cleaning house looks like. And some of these lawsuits are going to be necessary to get it done. We're going to be here to cover it. Thanks for subscribing and joining as we do. All right, now let's talk about judges, because this is turning into a total nightmare, actually. And we were wondering weeks ago why the dumb Republicans were playing ball with Democrats. But now we know. Now we know. So here it is. Republicans are furious with the federal judges. They've been backstabbed by the Democrats, and they're so dumb, it's now finally coming to their realization, because the judges who promised and agreed to leave office so that the Republicans could fill their spots are now unretiring. And Republicans are very upset about it. You can see today, Politico had the story for us, says, with little more than a month to go before Trump's second term, a set of federal judges, and I have the documents, I mean, they retired like 9 months ago. One guy had his retirement party 9 months ago, and now he's unretiring. A set of federal judges who previously announced retirements are pulling back those decisions, and Republicans are not happy about it because the Republicans gave away the entire store. Said, yeah, you can appoint, I think it was like 9 lower level district level judges. And they said they were going to get 4 Court of Appeals judges in exchange for that, like an even trade, just like you might do in sports. We'll trade you these lower judges for 4 of these higher judges. All the higher judges are not leaving now. Republicans are none too pleased. Most prominent among the jurists who is going to be reversing his retirement is Judge James Wynn. His name vanished from a list of pending vacancies over the weekend, joining 2 district court judges in North Carolina who are also pulling back their decisions once it became clear Joe Biden's not going to appoint their successors. In a letter to Joe Biden, which is what we see right here, have this one pulled up. This is what the judge said. All right, so this came out over the weekend, December 13th. You see from the chambers of Circuit Judge James Andrew Wynn, a judge who, in my opinion, can't even keep his word, writes the following. Says, Dear Joe, Honorable Joe, Mr. President, I write to advise that after careful consideration, I have decided to continue in regular active service as circuit judge for the Fourth Circuit. As a result of that decision, I respectfully withdraw my letter to you from January of this year. Dude, a year ago, you said you were leaving. I apologize for any inconvenience I may have caused. Sincerely, James Andrew Wynn. Okay, the guy literally had a retirement party. Here's what it sounded like when he was celebrating his final year in office.
Of how lucky her and the community are to have him.
Jim has achieved great success in the field of law and has contributed to the community and the society. His achievements and dedication to his work serve as an inspiration to all.
She also shared some sentiments from President Barack Obama, who appointed him back in 2010.
To Judge Wynn and everyone gathered today, Michelle and I extend our warmest wishes to you on this special day. Your many years of distinguished service in North Carolina make your birthday an even more auspicious occasion.
These people should all get their money and their time back. They got duped.
His entire life and even worked with his brother.
And I've been knowing Judge all my life, and even worked with his brother. And so we knew exactly who to go vote.
He's not leaving. He's not going anywhere. He's still staying on the bench.
Because we didn't want Grandma and them to get us. And if you want to eat that Sunday, you better vote right.
Brown continued sharing remarks from President Obama, followed by a roar of applause.
I am honored to have nominated you for the Fourth Circuit, and you will always have my gratitude for your dedicated service to the public. I hope today is full of warm memories and words from your friends and loved ones, and I'm sending you and Jacqueline my very best for all that lies ahead. Our 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama.
Oh, wow, Obama.
Judge
Wow.
Wynn's day was filled with love, well wishes, and memories from all his friends and family.
What a grifter, man. He had a whole retirement party in a church and everything, in a house of God. And now he's unretiring.
Surprised him. In Robertsonville, Gabby Sartori, 9 on your side.
All right, so pathetic. Now, senators are not happy, like really unhappy. Here's what Tom Tillis said. Today, Senator Tom Tillis, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, issued the following statement after James Wynn and his stunning decision to rescind his retirement for political reasons. And they agreed to make these retirements, and Republicans entered into deals with Democrats. And now they're all like, whoa, we can't help it if they're unretiring. Sorry, Mitch, idiot. Judge Wynn's, he says, brazenly partisan decision to rescind his retirement is an unprecedented move that demonstrates some judges are nothing more than politicians in robes. Judge Wynn clearly takes issue with the fact that Trump was just elected president, and this decision is a slap in the face to the Senate, which came to a bipartisan agreement to hold off on confirming his replacement until the next Congress was sworn in January. The Senate Judiciary Committee should hold a hearing on his blatant attempt to turn the judicial retirement system into a partisan game. And he deserves the ethics complaints and recusal demands from the Justice Department that are going to be heading his way. In case you're wondering, he had his retirement party 9 months ago. So pathetic. Now, here is a little bit more on the story from, what did I just do? I was going to show you this story, and then I no longer have it, which is good because we covered what we needed from that. But they're unhappy with these judges. As you can see, James Andrew Wynn and more are going to be coming back on. The Republicans got duped again. And we'll see if the next leadership can deliver much more than McConnell currently did, because as it stands, Republicans are getting commandeered in this final hour. The game is not over, and they've lost on judges for the time remaining as these people continue to unretire. We'll see what happens in January. Hopefully, it's much different than this. All right, and now, my friends, one final update on the day, and then we'll hear from you and see what you say about all of this and more. And of course, we're talking drones, baby, because here's what the president says. Trump says we know what these drones are, says the military would know exactly where they're coming from and could even pinpoint them to inside your garage if they wanted to. And I tend to believe him because he has been in the Oval Office. He knows the level of precision that the military has. And in this case, when they're coming out and telling us, we don't know what they are, floating around in the sky, we need more money, that proves the point that they're gaslighting all of us. Trump got asked about this today during the press briefing, and here's what he said.
They don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
Not good.
Want to know the truth. They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster.
Yeah, that's a good call. Let me rewind this a bit.
First of all, good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey and the ports? And it seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Yeah. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went.
Obviously.
And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it.
Like even the balloon they shot down, right? It took them a long time to do it. It's like, well, it's so big. We let this big, giant bus station come over our heads. They had to wait for it to go overseas, and then they finally shot it down. But they did shoot it down. And that was a pretty short moment in American history, an embarrassing moment. About a week, right? 10 days maybe was the whole thing. They found it floating all over the place. A couple other ones, people thought they sent fighter pilots through them, took pictures of them. They know what they are. Now all of a sudden they don't. So if it's not that, if it's not enemies, and if it's not a situation where it's training, because training, you'd say, was training for a couple days, a week maybe. Once the governor starts closing down airspace, once a bunch of senators are screaming at you, probably going to want to stop the training, just for training purposes. So what is it? Are they sniffing out something that is problematic, and that's why they have to fly these things? They fly them for short periods of time when it's easier to spot things at night, when there's less interference from the sun, when there's more calm, less people driving all over the place. What are they looking for? Why don't they tell us?
Something strange.
And if it was a missing nuclear bomb or missing missile material or missing uranium or plutonium, you can see why they may not want to tell anybody about that, because they probably don't know where it is. And so you have an evacuation of the entire eastern seaboard. So rather than come out and say, we're missing a nuke, they just come out and say, we don't know what's going on. Then if a nuke goes off, we know, and we got much bigger problems, then why weren't you telling us about the drones? And if they find it and solve it, then nobody's the wiser. They just say it was a training op.
range is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster. Want to know the truth? They're very, they're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
All right, now there were 2 people who were arrested for flying drones. Don't think it was the actual drones we're worried about, but they were flying drones dangerously close to Boston Airport. Probably just regular drones that they don't want people flying. Like, they're good at taking down drones that they don't want in the air. For example, this one. They found these guys right away. 2 men faced arraignment on Monday, being accused of a hazardous drone operation. Boston police said in a statement that Duffy and Fulsick, age 42-32, faced trespassing. The incident began on Saturday. This weekend, they're out flying their drones, looking for drones. At 4:30 local time, when a police officer detected an unmanned aircraft system operating, quote, dangerously close to Logan. The officer identified the drone's location, altitude, flight history, discovered the operators, right? Pinpointed that guy's a pimple on his butt. Oh, there you are. And discovered the operators were inside a decommissioned health facility on Long Island, part of a Boston harbor of islands. They found him right away. Police coordinated with Homeland, Massachusetts, members of the Boston Police Harbor, friggin' like 5 SWAT teams zoning in on this dude. Were dispatched to Long Island, where they located 3 suspects who all fled. 2 of the 3 individuals were apprehended and identified. 3rd guy's gone. Dozens of drone sightings have been reported in Massachusetts. After the arrests, the governor, Healy, said she was aware of these sightings and we're monitoring the situation. So they're in Massachusetts now too, huh? So New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts. I wonder if anybody's going to work to slow the spread. Are they going to lock us down for 15 days to slow the spread of the drones? It's only 15 days, everybody, so we can handle it. Homeland Security and Alejandro Mayorkas said Sunday that the federal government is deploying additional resources. I've got clips of them. Thus far, there is no reported evidence that the drone incidents are connected. Yeah, those are just dudes flying just random drones. Federal authorities have tried to reassure residents that there appears to be no sinister conspiracy. They might actually be trying to stop all of us from being blown up, maybe. And the FBI and Homeland have said many reported sightings may not be drones at all. Some people are mistaking these things, and I think that's what Mayorkas said. He was on with Wolf Blitzer recently and said, you guys are just dumb, okay? They're airplanes. Schumer was out talking about this over the weekend. Here's what he said when he got asked about this.
People are flying drones.
Got it. Sir, as the author of the UAP amendment in the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, you, among anybody, should be calling these what they are. We don't know they're drones, correct? They are UAPs. Why?
We don't.
Why aren't they being called UAPs?
Because we don't know if there are UAPs. We don't know what they are. That's what we're trying to find out.
Identified, of course.
Nobody knows what they are. We have to find out.
Senator.
Yes.
That is so ridiculous. He is the Senate Majority Leader of the country. Nobody knows.
Military drones?
We don't believe we do not believe they are U.S. military drones, or the military would have told us that.
Or Space Force, or are they military adjacent? Okay. Like, okay, yes, we know the FBI wasn't censoring anybody. Yes, we know the White House wasn't censoring anybody. No, Facebook was doing the censoring. The White House was just breathing down their necks and threatening them via email in order to get them to do it. But then they could come out and say, we're not censoring anybody. I don't know. Oh, Facebook's free to do whatever they want. Okay, is that happening now? Is the military outsourcing this to some other entity and they're going to, well, they're free to do what they want. We have no idea. They're under our control. In national security airspace? I don't think so. I don't think that's how that works exactly.
Why haven't precautions been taken sooner? Why now? Why haven't precautions
Well, all of a sudden, they're in the skies all over the place, and so we got to find answers. And then the legislation will provide much more authority as to where and when drones can fly. Right now, there is no authority to that because there are so many hobbyists and everybody else who flies drones. So you got to figure out how to do it.
So this is an op that they are running so that they can pass a bill to get more money? Is that a normal thing for our government to do? Because if that's the thing, then maybe we should ask those same questions about everything else. Everything else that they're causing to be chaotic so that they can get something. Is that the pattern? like, for example, like, did they cause or allow certain things to happen, like 9/11 or 10/7 or any of these other events that we're all asking about, so that they can respond and get more money and more power?
Top government leaders about the possibilities involved with non-human intelligence?
Look, we have spoken with top government leaders about finding the answers to what these are. We don't know what they are. No more, sir. Let other people. Okay?
When will you have a definitive answer of what you
Never.
Where they're coming from?
The sooner the better. We've talked to the Homeland Security and the FBI and told them we need answers quickly.
Yeah, and COVID, right? Add COVID into that list too. They told us for a long time, totally natural, nothing to worry about. Don't be a racist, okay? Stop blaming China for this stuff. You're all just bigots and xenophobes. If you even say the word Wuhan, lab leak, Fauci's amazing. No. Oh, wait, you want to say that it might have engineered it by giving money to EcoHealth Alliance? You're a conspiracy theorist, and you're now banned from everything. Thanks for playing the game. So here's Mayorkas, who also came out and continues the gaslighting, right? Gaslighting is telling you something that is not real and then basically blaming you for being crazy, right? Kind of castigating you, lying to your face and then being shameless about it, calling you crazy for not believing the lie. That's exactly what's happening here. So here's Mayorkas again coming out saying everybody's being crazy.
Absolutely, George, and thank you very much for having me. There's no question that people are seeing drones, and I want to assure the American public that we in the federal government...
Okay, because last time we heard from him, he was saying it was just missightings, and they were still investigating it. So now he's confirming that they are drones.
...have deployed additional resources, personnel, technology to assist the New Jersey State Police in addressing the drone sightings. Some of those drone sightings are, in fact, drones. Some are manned aircraft that are commonly mistaken for drones. And we do see duplicative reporting. But there's no question that drones are being sighted. Let me set the record straight here, George. There are thousands of drones flown every day in the United States. Recreational drones, commercial drones. That is the reality. And in September...
Okay, so I think this is the same argument that we hear with autism and stuff like that. Like, hey, just relax, okay? Autism rates are not going up. We're just looking more for it. That's why we find it more, right? Oh no, these huge changes in society are not being engineered, or it's not a product of our environment, or there's not nefarious actors who are trying to poison everybody. It's just you're observing it more. So that's all. Nothing strange is happening in the sky. You just went out and looked up in the sky for once, and by gosh, you're going to see a bunch of additional drones up there.
September of 2023, the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, changed the rules so that drones could fly at night. And that may be one of the reasons why now people are seeing more drones than they did before, especially from dawn to dusk. And so that is the reality. But I want to assure the American public that we are on it. We are working in close coordination.
It's been a month and a half.
And local authorities. And it is critical, as we all have said for a number of years, that we need from Congress additional authorities to address the drone situation. Our
more money, more
currently
power
are limited, and they are set to expire. We need them extended and expanded.
We do have a drone problem in this country. I mean, all of our drones are Chinese. If you go look at buying a drone, it's Chinese stuff, DJI and a bunch of these other drones, because our government is so slow. They can't keep up with innovation at all. And the Chinese are just running over everybody. So it would be good to have more drone capabilities. You know, I think drones could be a very cool technology for transporting stuff, and let the innovative sectors, let technology figure this stuff out. Like, I'm for drones. But I don't think that's exactly what this is. These are not Amazon boxes being dropped off. People are observing how close these things are flying, what they are, the size and the scale of them. So for Mayorkas to come out and gaslight everybody, they're just hobbyist drones. Obviously, that's not true.
What exactly do you need?
Money, billions.
We want state and local authorities to also have the ability to counter drone activity under federal supervision. That is one important element that we have requested, and we've heard it echoed by the state and local officials themselves.
Well, that's kind of what we were talking about. We were wondering why Governor Murphy from New Jersey couldn't just call up the National Guard, send that one senator, state senator from Pennsylvania or New Jersey or wherever that guy was from. He's like, give me an Apache. I'll go figure this out right now. Let me just fly over there. And yeah, maybe that would be good if the federal government got out of the way so local populations can deal with it. But we know they wouldn't, I think, allow that because these are their drones. Now, here was somebody else called Adam Kinzinger. You know him. He's doing the same thing, saying, you guys, stop being so hysterical. He says, I've watched every single video, okay? This is like that guy on the guy on the internet meme, you know? Excuse me. I'm from the internet, and so I've researched this, and so I know the answer to this. So please stop and let me speak. Here's what Kinzinger sounds like. He's the internet man incarnate on CNN.
Talk further now with former Congressman Adam Kinzinger. Good to see you, Congressman. So, you know, what do you make of how federal agencies have thus far responded to these sightings so far? Secretary Mayorkas saying, you know, we're looking at them. They pose no national threat at this time. Is enough being said or done to reassure people?
I mean, look, if people don't want to be reassured, then the answer is no. And, you know, look, what I'm hearing from Homeland and what I'm hearing from FBI is we don't see a threat here. And look, honestly,
you're not in
every
Congress
video
anymore.
I've seen, and I've spent the last couple of days looking at every one of these videos.
Wow.
Every video I have seen on Twitter or on the internet are all airplanes. They're literally all airplanes. Some of them will show an airplane that's kind of stable out there and says that's a drone. And actually, it's an airplane flying towards you at 30,000 feet. And I can see the lighting on it. And if there are drones out there, by the way, and if any of these pictures that they have shown are actual drones, these drones then are complying with FAA lighting requirements, a green on the right, a red on the left with a strobe. And so it's not Iran, it's not aliens if there are drones. My guess is if there are drones, again, because again, all I've seen are airplanes, then it is more than likely some company that's out testing drones or something like that and has no requirement to tell the public that they're doing it because they're actually operating these things legally. There have been no accusations of illegal operations. By the way, as a pilot myself, I can fly over a military base whenever I want. Those restrictions don't exist. So I think there's a lot of mass hysteria, and I've heard stories of people pointing lasers at these quote unquote drones and then the drones lights go off. Actually, let's be clear. I've been lased as a pilot before. You're supposed to turn off all your lights once you get lased so that they can't find you because it can actually damage your eyes.
All right. So, man, he's really smart. Thank you, Adam, for that insight. So anybody who's seen a drone out there, you're just fooling yourself. That was an airplane because Adam Kinzinger is a pilot and he got laser beamed in the eye one time. So he knows everything, and he's not in Congress and probably has no friends or contacts at Homeland or FBI or anywhere, but he's still reading the same articles that we're reading. And he's like, my people from Homeland. There's a lot of that goes on out there. What I'm hearing from Homeland, what do you mean? In that clip that we just played from Mayorkas? You mean what, the same thing we heard or what? So that's Kinzinger. Now, here's someone else who has a different take on this. This is a person who is a drone pilot, and he was explaining this on with MSNBC reports on what his take is.
Okay. We have more video that you sent us of you, in fact, trying to launch a drone, and it was right near an airport. So tell us what happened there and why it's so noteworthy.
Okay, so we got reports last night that there was a lot of drone activity in the East Hanover area, which backs up to Morristown Airport and all that vicinity. So we head out there, we set up in a parking lot about a quarter mile away from the airport, and I'm trying to get flight clearance to take the drone up and see what this other drone is, and I cannot. Restricted, I tried to bypass it. At one point, it even asked for my phone number. And I said, no, I think we're good at this point.
Is that DJI drone right there?
Okay,
Look, that's a Chinese drone company that he's using.
Clearance, how does that work? I mean, are you literally talking with a control tower, or what are you doing?
So there's an app that you use to connect to the drone. When it's time, when you want to fly, you press a button, and what it does is it looks for flight clearance or restrictions. And what happened was there was a restriction in that area, and I couldn't get up, but there were drones in the air that weren't following the restriction. Now, we verified.
Okay, so, right, if he can't launch his hobby drone, how is everybody else launching their hobby drones? Are they flying in opposition to those requirements. And my understanding is I don't own any drones, but the drones won't work. Like they have to comply with the rules. Otherwise, you can't fly them certain high. They're all kind of neutered, so to speak, in a certain way. So they can't fly over certain things and go to certain heights and so on, even though technologically they could.
Everything above us with flight radar, so we can tell if it's an airplane or if it's not. None of the things that we go after are on flight radar.
Okay, so your what we're looking at, this device notwithstanding, this control for your drone, if drones are getting into areas without clearance by the FAA, is it possible they figured out some kind of a technology to keep their drones from being jammed and or losing power?
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't know if you're aware, last week or so, 2 weeks when this started, I tried to take my drone over Picatinny Arsenal to follow a drone that was just hovering over there. And as I got closer, my drone lost power, spun out, and the battery died and it went down. But the other drone remained sitting in the air unaffected.
Why? What do you think?
No. Secrets that the government don't want us to know, and they're playing stupid. Either that or aliens.
Aliens!
Oh, come on. Not the latter. Okay, you're smiling. All right.
Probably not aliens.
All right. So are there enough restrictions for drones? You're a drone user. Are those restrictions taken seriously by your colleagues, your friends that are drone users as well? Or is more regulation needed? And if it went out there, would it be followed?
I think people are always going to find a way around the regulations. I don't think the average user can get around it because without that app and without that clearance, your drone will not go in there.
It just doesn't work,
with a red light. So if they did more restrictions, I don't know that they would be followed.
What do you make of the number that the FBI says of all those reports they've gotten? 5,000 reports, fewer than 100 or so warranting further investigation. What do you think would warrant further investigation or exploration? What is it that would pop up that they'd say, yeah, we got to look at this?
I would start with drones hovering over military bases, which I live right next to, and I watch them. They go back and forth. They leave for a little bit. They come back. They hover around. Nothing happens. No one does anything. They just sit there and watch them hover in the air.
But you don't know that those aren't intentionally there, right? That they have been cleared.
That's right.
We don't have information on drones. When I go onto a flight radar,
our government can tell us.
I can only see whatever aircraft is registered in the sky at that moment, and drones are not part of that.
People have, at least Secretary Mayorkas, he had suggested before yesterday that these were all fixed-wing aircraft, these dozens and dozens and dozens of sightings. Now he's saying mostly that, but there are some that are just drones. What's your expectation of this? If it's fixed-wing aircraft, why is it so hard to tell the difference?
So I believe the misconception is when we say drone, people are picturing like my recreational drone. It's got the 4 propellers, and they can get very loud. The drones that we're seeing are like mini aircraft. They look like airplanes, but at the distance they are at, they're too small to be airplanes. They're too small to be aircraft, and they're not on the registration for the flight radar. So they do look like airplanes. And that's what's confusing people because they look up and they say, okay, that looks like an airplane, but it's not. It's a small drone.
And people are experiencing it. Okay, we've played other clips from other news reporters. There was the other guy who was, I think, from Newsmax, who came out and he said, look, I thought this story was kind of jokey. He went over there and he's like, yeah, like all night, like these drones flying all over. We saw the same thing from the senator, Andy Kim, from, I believe, New Jersey. He said the same thing. He went out, he was hanging out with the cops, recording videos. He made a multi-prong X thread that articulated exactly what was happening. And it did not look like airplanes. And if they were airplanes, how are they duping senators and police who are standing there with senators trying to figure out what the hell's going on? So it is very confusing indeed. But we've got New York now, which is going to be rolling out special drone detection tech. Don't know exactly what this will be, but they tell us here's what to know about it. Gotham has Batman. New York wants Robin. Who wrote this? Daniel. All right. Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said this weekend that Homeland should send special drone detection technology made by Robin radar systems. Got it. If the technology exists for a drone to make it up into the sky, there certainly is technology that can track it down, said Schumer. They want Robin's equipment because it uses not a linear line of sight, but it uses 360-degree technology that has a much better chance of detecting these drones. We have some of the dumbest leaders in the world. Chuck Schumer sitting there saying, well, how come you guys are not prepared for this? Well, they just showed up. We didn't know that drones existed. So do we not have a drone defense plan for America? Have you seen those Chinese night shows with all these drones that create these like giant dragons just floating through the air? You think those drones are just there for lights? Do you think that's all they can do with those drones? Like 10,000 of them flying around through the sky? What do you think that does to a city if you attach incendiaries to those? Not good. Do we think that they have those capabilities? Oh yeah, definitely. If they're flying around making dragons in the sky, they can put some incendiaries on there. And our dumb senators like Schumer are like, well, we just figured it out. How come you guys haven't figured this out? Well, they just started flying around, so now we have to work on it. Sounds like what their response with COVID. I thought you guys had like a military apparatus. America was prepared for global pandemics. We were going to have $1 billion, trillion infrastructure so we could spin this up and spin that up and have the best technology and all the things. Turns out we couldn't even get papal face masks that didn't even work. Sorry, we're out. Sorry. How about hand sanitizer? We're out. Can you make it? No. It's alcohol and water. It's America. We can't make anything. So now they're doing the same thing here, saying they're just going to develop some new technology. They'll deploy the technology and then they'll be able to spot them, which is great. So they can identify them. That's great. And now they're going to start working on it. Robin is part of a consortium developing a small radar satellite that can measure water levels. Okay, that's great. And here's what it looks like. And I'm thinking to myself, don't the Israelis have the capabilities to just blast missiles out of the sky? Where's our Iron Dome to just blast these things out of the sky? Where is it? In early 2023, Robin announced it had joined another group of organizations working on the world's most advanced weather radar. And that's great. So our government is now trying to figure it out. It remains unclear who's operating the devices. They have no idea. And so they're going to bring in some other company to help them figure it out. Some of the drones are small. Some of the patterns are erratic, says Schumer. They're working on a bill that would give local law enforcement more tools for drone detection. All right. Currently, only federal agencies have the legal authority to scour for drones, but they want to change that. And then hopefully, I guess we won't have as many drone problems. So the public deserves answers, they say. We're going to keep pushing the federal government for more. So, all right, my friends, that is the drone situation. They have no idea what they're doing. Fortunately, we don't have a long time until the president comes in. We're counting down the days, and in January, we'll get more competence at the White House. We'll solve a lot of problems and hopefully figure out who's behind these drones. But, my friends, now it's time to hear from you. It's been a beautiful stream, and I'm very glad that you're here and joining us and with us. And so if you just are tuning in, we covered 3 segments today. ABC News and George Slopadopoulos paying Trump some big money, $15 million. And according to Simone, $1 million of that is coming out of George Stephanopoulos' pocket and going over to President Trump. So that's a big payday. And George is not going to be happy about that. A lot of reaction. Brian Stelter's mad. Mark Elias is mad. And Trump is suing CBS and has intimated there will be more coming. 60 Minutes is on the list. And Ann Selsberger, the Des Moines, Iowa Register pollster who was rigging polls at the last minute, she's on the list too. Then we talked about judges and how the Republicans have totally botched the entire judicial game, saying now that a bunch of higher level judges that they were trading for lower level judges aren't going to leave. So they don't now get to appoint their successors, and they're just going to lay on there until the next Democratic president comes through, and Republicans are unhappy. Tom Tillis saying that they should be scolded, they should have ethics complaints, and Trump should notice them on every case that lands in front of those bad judges. Then we talked about the drones. President Trump says, we know what they are. We know where they came from. We know who they belong to, but they're not telling us. Why is that? A couple options. I think the most obvious option that makes the most sense to me is they're looking for something that they can't tell anybody about, and that is a little bit nerve-wracking. We listened to Mayorkas, we heard from others, and the drone story will continue on. But now, my friends, it's time to hear from you, and we'll see what you say about all of this. It is a beautiful day and a beautiful afternoon. Thank you for being here and joining us as we go live from our new digs. And let's see who's here on the day. We got some donos that came in, and I'm getting a hang of the new setup. So I think we've got some locals donos and some YouTube donos. Here is what we've got. We do. Here. Oh, here we go. Hey, I think we can share it this way. This looks good. It's Monday. Time to sparkle and shine, baby. It's Monday. It's time to sparkle and shine. Indeed, indeed. All right, so let me do just a quick check on this, and then let's get to it. Okay, we had some great comments. And hey, Donut, thank you for clipping for us today. All right, Former's here. Former says YouTube and audio is out of sync. Is that still true, my friends? Hopefully that has been fixed. Hopefully that's not happening. But if it is, of course, please let me know. We've got some more donos that have come in. And so let me figure out how to get this situated a little bit better. So these are a little bit bigger. Here we go. This is what I want. This is what I want right here. All right, boom. Here's what we've got from our friends. Let's see. All right, we just moved, as you can tell. I'm figuring out where all my stuff is. All right. Hey, Knox is here. All right, Former says YouTube audio video is out of sync. Hopefully it's fixed now and it's working. Knox says, happy Monday, all. Glad to see you made it to the new digs. I think some rugs and wall hangings will help with that kind of tinny echo. You're right about that, Knox. I put 2 rugs down, but I got a third one, which is a big one, which is going to take up this. And then you're right. There's nothing on the walls. So thanks for dealing with the tinniness. We're going to get it solved very soon. Although this week, my friends, as a heads up, we're coming back down for AmFest. So AmFest, if you want to go to AmFest, get your tickets because Trump's going to be there speaking. We're going to be there in Media Row. We're going to be there live streaming Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going down there Wednesday to set up. And so if you want to come and see us there, come to AmFest. We also have WatcherLodge.com, which is if you want to join the Watcher fam at AmFest, go sign up over there, WatcherLodge.com. We're also posting show notes over there and PDFs of the stuff that we cover over there. So check it out, WatcherLodge.com. Thank you, Knox, for that. Lenny, hey, don't forget to hit that like button, my friends. Don't forget to hit that like button. Share, subscribe on all social media platforms, and God bless you all, says Lenny Malley. Niels is here, says Trump should get the final edit in the ABC apology. Yeah, what would Trump's apology be? He'd say something like, it reminds me, remember when he says we shot Abu al-Baghdadi? He died like a dog. Remember that? Like a dog. Like that. So it'd be something like, it'd be something kind of colorful like that from Niels. Thank you, Niels. 10 months as a membo. Great to have you. Voice of the People says, ooh, Mama G's going to wash your mouth out with soap now. She used to threaten that all the time, by the way. Robert! She'd say my full name. Robert! And I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. I'm like, oh, man. I think she may have done it with my brother once. I don't know if she actually did it with me. I was pretty well behaved with Mom. Not with everyone else, but with Mom, I was pretty well behaved. My brother, Eric, he may have gotten a mouth washing out of soap. He may have had that. Tony, hey, did you have it up there? Hey, Tony, hey, what's up? Says, if they can prove that Biden didn't win, could they dismiss all his pardons? I doubt it. Yeah, I think he's sworn in. They're not going to undo anything of Joe's. I think it's basically done, right? You can't really rewind the clock 4 years. So I don't think his pardons are going anywhere. Yeah, I think it's done. Don Goff says, I would like a tour of the new place, Rob. That sounds good, Don. Yeah, I want to show you guys around. We got a beautiful view out back. I got a beautiful patio. It's just great. Very, very fortunate. We found a great spot. That's why we moved so quickly. We're here. Don Goff, thank you for being here. 10 months as a membo. Knox is in the house. Thank you, Knox. Says, I keep knocking on wood. I am loving all this winning. I know. On that $15 million dono. Pretty good. Dana says, my mom had 3 paint sticks taped together. Whew. That's tough. That's tough. Knox, good to see you. It was not that long ago. We were all watching our president sit through court every day. I'm still amazed so many peeps are coming out as pro-Trump. It is hilarious. Yeah, I've noticed that too. There's not all of that 2016 anti-Trump energy, anti-fascist energy. It's just not, it's not materializing. Everybody, I think, is, even if you don't like Trump, you don't like the current situation, like the current environment. So you're like, all right, well, I guess we'll just have a change. I guess we'll just have a change. Hey, Words Mean Things here says, hey, just stepping away from work for a second to share this. If somebody else already did, my apologies. Says, Megyn Kelly did a brilliant takedown of Stephanopoulos last March, showing clips of him actually doing the exact thing for Clinton that he pretended to be so offended about regarding Trump. What a total hypocrite from Megyn Kelly, who's amazing. And that's awesome because, I mean, she's been around like, and she knows George. Like she, you know, I'm sure she knows him. So for her to call him out and to give us kind of the back, you know, my point is she's been around long enough that she can see the differences between administrations, which is a really nice perspective to have. Which is why she's so powerful. You were out of line. Megyn Kelly slams George Stephanopoulos in her past shaming of assault victims after the Nancy Mace interview. Yeah. So he comes out, beats up Nancy Mace, but wasn't upset about Clinton. Yeah, a lot of that going on. Thank you, Words. Hopefully work is going amazing. Sergi P. What's up, Sergi P? Say, hey, Rob, I've been watching The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. I'm just wondering if you have cases that are on your mind often. Well, I'm not practicing right now or planning to, so I don't have any active cases for clients. If you're asking about old cases, I won't say that they're like always on my mind or that they're even often on my mind, but I'll have cases that pop up. I mean, I have one case that's like a gruesome case. It's like a father and a daughter. She was like 13 and he was just gone in the brain. Stuff like that. You know, stuff like that will it will come up in times. I think it'll come up in times like when I'm prompted for it. Like, it's not like a traumatic response, but like I'm prompted for it. Like, we'll be watching a TV show or something, right? And something will happen with a minor or something. I'm like, oh yeah, like I know how that works. And I'm like, oh yeah, like, yeah, that was a rough one. Stuff like that. But nothing that I'm like troubled about. Like, I'm not in those Netflix series, you know, that like that lawyer in the Netflix series like wakes up and he's like, I know how to get him off death row. I don't have any of those things. Maybe I'm not that good of a lawyer, but I don't have those. Sergi P. I haven't watched it. I wonder if it's any good. I like The Lincoln Lawyer. I like the lawyer stuff. Some people ask, do you like any of that stuff? Because it's so fake and like not real. And it's true. A lot of it is totally fake and not real at all. But I still enjoy it because I like the politics and I like the kind of the art of it. Like, I like to also see how other people think lawyers are and how they make it in you know, commercial productions. It's interesting. Knox, hey, and regarding these last 3-headed hydras like the circuit court judges, the people need to keep the pressure of positivity on. All the cool kids are MAGA now. LOL. It's true. It's like hip to be Trump. And he said that today at the press conference, Knox. If you missed it this morning, it was hilarious. He's like, you know, he's like, 4 years ago, nobody liked me at all. Now everybody's calling me. Everybody likes me. He said something like, I think my personality changed or something. No, it didn't. But you were right. And they're now realizing it. Hey, B. Torn. Judge Kaplan should be sued and impeached for a slanderous Washington Post op-ed. Stephanopoulos cooked his goose when he referenced his smear piece. Did Kaplan post something in the Washington Post recently? Interesting. Hey, Knox sent this one in. Changes to the FAA reauthor. Like, why is the judge writing op-eds? Did that happen? Changes to the FAA Reauthorization Act via YouTube says the alphabet agencies are allegedly doing this to get extended powers under the FAA reauthorization set for vote on 12/20. That's what all this is a last minute power grab. Are you serious? That's it? One old guy says all of a sudden they're all over the place in the air. What a dork. What a gullible. Chuck Schumer is the name. One old guy's opinions. Yeah, it's like, what? Well, we don't know where they came from. You never heard of a drone before there, Chuck? Pam says, this weekend, 50 drones flew in together from the Pacific to Camp Pendleton, which is between OC and San Diego. They were sighted in OC, LA, and Vandenberg. It's so obvious they are stepping this up, and they know what they are. The increased power makes sense if you listen to the lizard man, Mayorkas. Thank you, Pam. They're hitting the East Coast, too. We're not slowing the spread. One old guy says Mayorkas is full of poo-poo and says, on it, you mean like the immigration problem from Mayorkas? Yeah, they're on it. You guys are on it, I'm sure. One old guy's opinions are here. Man, we got some great donos in the house. All right, one old guy says, how rich Snuffleupagus is interviewing Mayorkas. $15 million worth of truth. Crash is here. Rob, it is not an op, okay? They are tyrants. They're seeking power, period. I think masks and 6 feet of spacing will solve the issues. Who believes anything Mayorkas says? Not me. It's a good position to have, Crash. He's not an honest person. Knox, I really think our government is so diseased with greed and grift that anyone who gets money for R&D ends up spending the money on hookers and adrenochrome. Certainly feels that way. What do we get for it? I mean, where does all of our money go? Shouldn't we have at least an Iron Dome-ish? Do we? I don't think so. How come? Mark Nielsen, 9 months. We got a new baby, Mark. Thank you for that. Says, supposed to trust the same people that lie for years. Yeah, that's what they say. Trust the science. Trust the experts. You're just being dumb. Don't you know what an airplane is? One old guy says, can't get up. Oh gosh, just want to be on TV. U.S. government drones. It is aliens in the government. Look no further than the current Democrat Party. There are some alien-looking people in there for sure. Yeah, Dan Goldman might be an alien. I mean, the way his eyes bulge out of his head sometimes. I don't know. One old guy says, look up drone fleet in Iran, Russia, Ukraine, and USA. Look at the photos. Research what these aircraft actually look like. Michelle says, around this time last year, the drones became an annoyance to our family routine, and I bellyache to my parents. My dad is getting to watch Hysteria in real time. I think it's good for him. That's really funny. So this has been going on in your family for a year? Is that basically what you're telling me? That's a long time to be dealing with drones. Are they flying over your head? Shout out to your dad. You know, he sounds like he's a good dude. Thank you, Michelle, for the dono. Your dad. Yeah, he's probably, there's a lot going on over there. Hey, XSSFDIT. Doesn't the Secret Service have tech to prevent drone usage? At least they were saying during Butler and the assassination investigation. Yeah, I think that's right. They said that they couldn't get their drones up in time until like 5 or 5:30. They were way late with their drone technology. So they're supposed to have it, but they don't know how to use it. And they can't even stand on sloped roofs either. And they don't save their radio comms. So, I mean, the Secret Service is kind of like a middle school club, about as competent. Rocky Water, what's up? A little housewarming tip. Thank you, Rocky. Congrats on the move, and thanks for not letting your life get in the way of the content. Great stuff as always, Rob. Thank you, Rocky. I was contemplating it. I was like, man, what if we skip today? Just kidding. I would never even think such a thing. B.H. Williams, 5 years ago, Angel Has Fallen movie had an entire sequence of a drone attack on the president. It would be criminal if they didn't plan to thwart a drone attack. Angel Has Fallen. I think I saw that one. Was it White House Has Fallen? I saw one of those. They're fun. They're pretty fun. Yeah, that was like a fun one. Like when the Chinese came and just took over the White House. It might be pre-programming, right? They're programming us. What's up, Tony? Hey, Munkets, Tony. Hey, bringing in 10 membos. Anonymous Jeff is here. Robert and Yet. Nanner News. Golden Gaming, what's up? Snuggle Struggle is in the house. We've got Cynthia, Alex, Cindy Klein, Low Key Sheila. What's up, Low Key Sheila? Seeking Justice and Liquid Rock Aquatics. Gifted membos in the house. We got Rub Some Dirt on it. Says, Rob, I have a buddy with a recording studio and one wall is all bookcases filled with books to eliminate the sound reflectivity you're experiencing. Rub some dirt on it. That's super smart. At our other studio down in the valley that we just left, I had books everywhere, and that really was helpful. So I'll recreate some of that. We're going to fill it up. We'll work on it, but it's going to give me about a week or so because we still have AmFest. I don't think we'll get it done before tomorrow. Jeffrey Adams, thank you. Rub some dirt on it for the feedback. Yeah, we want to make it nice. We want to make it sound perfect. Jeffrey Adams says, Rob, identify by name which Republicans got played by the Dems, please. Well, Mitch McConnell, clearly. Anybody on the Judiciary Committee who is making these agreements. So like the Senate Judiciary Committee, who's on it? You want to name some names? Let's see who's on it. And let's just see if Google will give us a quick answer on this. But yeah, they were trading names. They were coming to agreements and they were trading names. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Lindsey Graham, Chuck Grassley, John Cornyn, Mike Lee of Utah, Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Tom Cotton, John Kennedy, Tom Tillis, and Marsha Blackburn. They all got played by Dick Durbin, Feinstein, Whitehouse, Klobuchar, Coons, Blumenthal, Hirono, Cory Booker, Padilla, Ossoff, Welch, and LaFonza Butler. They all got played by them. Thanks for letting me shout them out. Shiloh, not sure if you heard Jeff from Legal Vices passed. I know it's terrible, Shiloh. We said prayers and rest in peace to him at the start of the show. It's still, it's just terrible. So my friends, prayers for Legal Vices and Jeff and his fam and his friends and his everything. It's just horrible. Rick D, here's a few more moms saying. My mom's favorite sayings. What part of no don't you understand? I don't care who started it. Oh, check that one off. Money doesn't grow on trees. Bingo. Your face is going to freeze like that. I don't think we had that one a whole lot. Your hands are not broken. Beds are made for sleeping, not jumping. No one said life is fair. Eat your vegetables. That's Mama G, 100%. I don't know is not an answer because I said so. That's why. I'm sure that came up too. Those are good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm sure they're all in there. Thank you for those. We love our moms. Shout out to our moms. Uncle Bozy. It's an interesting photo. Kind of resembles Mayorkas. Free Borboleta says, hey, Rob, Traviana Q, a co-defendant of Trump's Fannie's RICO case, has come out publicly saying Bill Barr was the primary architect of the case. She did an interview with Professor Nez on Saturday. Well worth listening to. Man, that sounds great. Traviana Q. Shout out to Professor Nez. He's on YouTube. Should be subscribed to him too. Does great content. And Bill Barr as the primary architect. Interesting. Did she have a source for that? Or did she, because she's a co-defendant, she's been charged. Does she have any connection to Bill Barr? Or was Bill Barr, was that in a depot or somewhere else? In honor of Jeff of Legal Vices, I'd like to get his subscribers to 100K. He's at 85.7 now. Can we do it, my friends? Congrats on the move. Thank you, Justin. Soulless Ginger in the house and is bringing in a shout out to say, go over to Jeff and at Legal Vices, go to his account, subscribe to him if you want to be a part of that effort from Just Don. Uncle Bozy's here. Says a velvet Elvis wall hanging would deaden the echoes. A velvet Elvis wall hanging would deaden the echoes. That is true too. It's a good suggestion. Where do I get one of those? Stephen O, bringing in 10 membos. Stephen O. Hello, Stephen. Thank you for this. Hey, Brad Thorne is coming in. Welcome, Brad. Freedom Express Media in the house. Sam Young, what's up, HK? Kelly 911. Dark Messiah's in the house. K Bean shouting out. George Durr, Lynn B, Truck Castro, and Shop is in the house, bringing in new membos. Thank you, Lynn B. Thank you, Shop, or welcome, Shop. Welcome, Ahava in the house. Michelle says, my husband is military and my dad is a very good man. Shout out, Michelle. I had a feeling. I'm glad to hear that. Awesome. Shout out to Papa Michelle in the house and the hystericism that's happening with these drones. Lady I says, boy, too bad our government was too short-sighted to build one for us. When Reagan called, he wanted Star Wars built, but we don't have it. Everybody else does, not us. Hey, Bill Barr turncoat like all the other rhinos. Yeah, but was there a deposition or something? Like, where did that come from? The idea that he planned the RICO case. I saw some conversation about that, but what was the source? Was it a depo? Where did that come from specifically? Do we know? Hey, what's going on? Okay, so my friends, we've got some other comments on X to say hello to. Tara, your grandbaby. Oh my gosh, go over to X to see Tara's grandbaby sleeping on the screen. Amazing. Mike says, hey, good stuff as always, Rob. Gordon Chang did an interview with Forbes, has some interesting takes on the drones. Here's what's happening on X. Interesting takes on the drones, but he had some pretty serious news about China's short-term plans. Gordon Chang would be worth everyone's time to watch it. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Gordon Chang. Sounds like some good details. B. Torn, what's up? 2 Never Trump TDSers who didn't shave their hair. You can listen to it, and you'll hear how crazy they are. That sounds like just a terrible, terrible podcast. But if you're into it, certainly you can check out that show and grab the link over from our friends on X. Hey, Nathan C. is in the house. We got some other donos, my friends, before we wrap it up. We had some other things that just came in. Nathan C's in the house. Hey, pay respects to Legal Vices. Here we go. This is a good one. Says, may Jeff and Legal Vices rest in peace. An incredible friend and content creator to many, he spread knowledge and humor with everyone he interacted with. And I think that's what I remember most about him is he's funny and his humor. And he was always wearing different hats and stuff. And he kind of felt like he was the odd one out, especially in Korea, right? And I watched some of him and some other creators talk too, and it's very interesting. Legal Mindset, right? Yeah, him and Legal Mindset over there in Asia and doing great. It's terrible, man. It's terrible. So prayers, rest in peace, Jeff. Rest in peace, Legal Vices. All of his fans, all of his friends. I'm really sorry to hear that. It's like, geez, man, it's terrible. So thank you, Nathan, for paying tribute. We appreciate it. Hey, Rick D says he just pardoned his son for gun crimes, and today he posts this. We need more gun rules. Guns are dangerous, except when my crackhead son has them. So he posted a statement about the shooting in Wisconsin. Yeah, thank you for that. Rick D in the house. Thank you, Rick. Hey, this one from B. Torn says Kaplan wrote the op-ed right after the trial. Okay, yeah, not recently, right? Free Borboleta says a whistleblower who was in on the meetings contacted Trevania directly. That sounds juicy. Has the whistleblower gotten lawyers or come out on anything? Or I'm interested. I'm not trying to deny it. I'm just, who is this person? Where'd it come from? That's all. Hey, thank you, Free Borboleta. Very nice tip. So sounds like a good interview with Professor Nez. Bill, how did Bill Barr orchestrate the RICO case, though? I mean, that's like a tall thing because he left before J6 even happened. Right? He wasn't in office. Anyways, Sharpie Guy. Thank you, Sharpie Guy. You're such a boss, Rob. Keep it coming. Thank you, Sharpie Guy, man. It's great to see you. Glad that you're here. Thanks for being here and hanging with us on the day. I think you're a boss too, my friend, and I appreciate it. Free Borboleta, thank you for that one. Okay, so my friends, we are going to wrap it up and leave it there on the day. We're going to continue to fill out this room so that the audio is fixed a little bit better. Thanks for going through the moving pains with us. Rachel 2381 just sent this one in. I've been MIA for a while. You moved to Prescott? We did. We're here. We're in Prescott right now. I'm looking at the rolling hills right out the window. It's beautiful. And it's a little cold, a little colder in Prescott, but that's why we're here. We're looking forward to it. Thank you, Rachel, for stopping by. Sorry we missed you. Hopefully you're not MIA anymore. We want to have you back all the time. Okay. And so, my friends, once again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here on this lovely Monday. I hope your week is off to an incredible and an amazing start. Bonnie says, I went back and watched everything I could put out about Bill Barr. I could find no suggestion he was involved. Supposedly they have proof, so why don't they share it? From my perspective, it's just a smear job because Bill Barr disagreed with Trump on so much voter fraud that Trump would have won 2020. Yeah, I'd like to see like a deposition or something other than somebody was in a meeting and heard a thing. Because, I mean, just think about it. Bill Barr was not in the White House. He resigned before January 6th, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he resigned before January 6th. Because Trump was mad at him for not pursuing the election interference stuff. When did Bill Barr resign? Was it before or after? Let me make sure we're right on that. Was it after? I mean, I think it was before. December 14th. Yeah. December 14th, resignation effective December 23rd. So he resigned before that. So he would have, I mean, he'd have to like be going down there. It's kind of a lot. All right. Anyways, I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibility, but Rachel says, too much work. That's why I'm MIA. Work is good. Work is good. Well, the holidays are here too. So hopefully things are slowing down for everybody and we're shifting into holiday mode. So, my friends, once again, thanks for being here. Thanks for the great donos. Bonnie, Rachel, thanks for squeezing those in as we round out the day. My friends, we're going over to Locals, watchingthewatchers.locals.com for our members-only after party. We do members-only streams in the morning. If you want to join us for some extra stuff, we went long this morning. We had a great talk where we went through the whole Trump press briefing. So if you want to catch that, meet some other membos, join us on YouTube, join us on Locals, and we'll love to have you there. We also want to shout out Rob White and Goofy for Jesus sending in 2 last-minute super chats. Rob White, thank you, says, how about a Trump flag with Trump's historic fight, fight, fight on the wall? Maybe back here? It looks a little bit dead back here, right? We got to fill that up so we get some of that reverb gone. Good suggestion, Rob White. I do have the Trump portrait. Maybe we'll put that up there tomorrow. I'll put that over there tomorrow. And Goofy for Jesus says, if Prescott wants their name pronounced right, they should spell it with an I instead of an O. Don't spell it Prescott. Spell it Prescott, maybe. Allegedly, Barr helped Big Fanny draft the indictment, says Knox Bierman. That's a big one, man. If he did that, that's big. That's a big claim. Bonnie says, the only thing I heard Barr say is that all the cases against Trump except J6 were garbage and had no merit whatsoever. All right. And so, my friends, we're wrapping it up right there. Thanks for those last minute donos. We're going over to Locals to hang out and debrief. Otherwise, we're coming back here tomorrow to get into it again. And I hope to see you here. I hope you join us so that, because we are going to need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. A little rusty, got to get used to the new digs. My friends, make it a great night. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.